Guest actor, though, can be so much more variable. It's the wild card, which is why it's a bit more exciting. I wonder who's going to be guest actor this year. Because it has to be something in 4 episodes or less on a 10-episode show, but that's really impactful enough to win an award. For Game of Thrones, the person they usually submitted for this, not every year, but for 4 out of 8 seasons, was Diana Rigg. Diana Rigg, as Olenna Tyrell, was nominated for Guest Actress for seasons 3, 4, 5, and 7, though she never won. They never won for these. And Charisse Van Houten self-submitted for season 8. For Guest Actor Male, the only time they ever put up a nomination was for season 6 for Max von Sydow as the Three-Eyed Crow. I mean, the Max von Sydow was doing this. That was great for that year. So you have to be someone on the level of Olenna Tyrell or Max von Sydow as the Three-Eyed Crow to be a really impactful guest actor. And the climax of this video is I'm surprised that, as far as I can tell, and maybe they're announcing this later, I don't think they put anyone up for nomination for guest actor. That they left it blank, and maybe it's they only have so much money to focus on the behind-the-scenes promotional campaign, and there's other guest actors who they think will win this year. Like, guest actors who are on Better Call Saul are going to beat them, so maybe it doesn't merit it this year, maybe. On top of that, not that many people qualified, like I said, that Eve Best was in 7, Mizuno was in 5, they don't qualify. So the thing I really want you all to discuss in the comments here, I look forward to it, is just as a thought experiment, who were actors and actresses in Season 1 who appeared in 4 episodes or less, who were impactful enough in the style of an Olenna Tyrell that you feel, no, I think you should have put them up for nomination. So I'm just thinking of, well, who qualifies physically before I do, well, who is impactful enough. Start with any of the children. The child characters usually qualify for that. Not young Rhaenyra and Alicent, I mean their children. But like the little kids, while really good, were only in 2 episodes, 6 and 7, in the middle of the story. I mean, the final time jump is what we're talking about, when they have big enough roles to merit this. And while Rhaenyra's kids were good, they didn't get a lot to do yet. They didn't give Baela and Rhaena enough to do yet. Think about it. Tom Glyn Carney as Aegon II was really good. I mean, as an actor, he's playing this wreck of a man. He did a really good job. He's not a mustache-twirling villain. There's reasons he's like this. Despite his sliminess, that you can almost feel sympathy as you would for a rabid dog, as the phrase goes. That you can just the part where he's going, he didn't... Oh yeah, father said I should be heir. No, he didn't even like me. He barely talked to me my entire life. They ignored me. That you see that he still has feelings. He's not a cartoon character. He was only in 2 episodes. And it was a really good performance. He technically qualifies for guest actor. Same for Ewan Mitchell. He was in 3. Because episode 9 and 10, it's all on the greens than all on the blacks. And I think it's a lot like what they're doing with Olivia Cooke, where you could argue Olivia Cooke is a lead, but it's better to play down. And on top of that, Olivia Cooke was only in 4 episodes. Because she wasn't in episode 10. Olivia Cooke could have been up for guest actress this season. But I think they wanted people to think of her... They're looking ahead to the future. They want people to think of her as a contender for supporting actress. Even though they know she probably won't get it. Or any of the other ones. That why pigeonhole someone as a guest when you're setting them up to be a supporting? Similarly, like, I fully believe that Tom Glyn Carney did good enough that he could be a major contender for Best Supporting Actor in Season 2. So I think they want people to think of him as supporting more than a guest, and I agree with that you probably shouldn't put them up as a guest when they're actually a major role. Fair enough. Who else is there? Well, in terms of time skips, the only other one that was really impactful that was in less than 4 was young Laenor. He had bits in the episode 3 at the War Council. His whole thing was really episode 5, but he had a lot to do and a lot of range. Theo Nate, I really liked him. But the other big male role that was in 4 episodes or less that was also impactful, Vaemond Velaryon, Will Johnson. We didn't do that much all of the season, and then he was the main antagonist of the best episode of the season, episode 8, and he did such a good performance. So I'm torn between these two that, Vaemond was amazing as he's a villain, and he is a villain. Even if Rhaenyra's sons are bastards, it goes until Corlys's bloodline is extinguished. That if Jace is a bastard, it goes to Laena's daughters. That Baela would inherit, even if all of her sons died, Baela would inherit ahead of Corlys's younger brother. That's how succession works in Westeros. A daughter comes before a lord's younger son. And they needed to stress that a bit more, that this isn't about their bastards, this is about you. But he's villainous, but did a really good job of it, versus Laenor had more range. I mean, the conflicting emotions are great and hard to do, like that he's happy that he gets to have the sham marriage to cover his sexuality, but he's nervous about it, and like when he's on the beach scene where Joffrey's joking, he's like, that's not funny, man, this is scary, we're playing a dangerous game here, and the tension, this isn't funny, stop joking around, but then he lets loose and it gets romantic. So the conflicting emotions and stuff, he had more range. So of these two, I think of people in 4 episodes or less, these are the two impactful ones for male. Female, I had to scrape the bottom of the barrel because there are so many great female roles, they're just in more than 4 episodes. But thinking on who appeared in 4 episodes or less, it was both actresses who appeared in only 1 episode, but they were impactful. The one I think they actually should have submitted was Sean Brooke as Emma Arryn. Why didn't they submit her for guest actor? Maybe they did and they just didn't announce it yet or something? Because she had 3 scenes and fully established this character. I'm not even talking about the C-section scene, which was amazing. But their big scene, just one scene you have with your daughter that you have to establish what their relationship is like. One scene really with her husband where they're actually talking in the bath, she's in the bath, and they're talking about everything, and it's a range of performances that she covers different things between her daughter and her husband. And everyone's horrified by the C-section thing. They didn't really show anything in that. It's all played off of her reaction, her performance. Either pointed at her face, or they said we show her POV looking out of her eyes, that she can't really see what's going on, so we see the camera focuses on a maid's hand holding her hand down. But we don't actually look at the C-section or that much or anything. You see a little blood when it starts, and then it's done. It reminds me of David Fincher's Seven, where it really happens off screen, that there's like a point where prostitute gets carved up with a knife, but it's off screen. You just see them reacting to the body. And like a female critic wrote into David Fincher, she was really upset and she specified on screen you showed her being carved with a knife. And he responded publicly, go back and check, it's just artful editing to give the impression, but when you check, I didn't actually show what they did. It's just playing off of everyone's reaction. But that's the old horror trope. This goes back to, like the 30s and 20s of, in terms of horror and other things, it's scarier. Nothing is scarier than what you don't see, and it lets your imagination run wild. And not only is it scarier, like in a horror thing, to just see bits of the monster, it's also more tasteful. So, but that's just not, I'm trying not to emphasize so much that, wow, she really convinced me Emma was dying in that. I don't want to reduce it to that. Her other performance was with limited time. She managed to do very well. I didn't think we'd get scenes between Emma and Viserys, or Emma and Rhaenyra. I thought they'd just start with her dying off screen or something. I did not think we'd get this much of her, because it happens right away. Sean Brooke did a really good job. Why aren't they putting her up for guest actress? I know she was only 1 episode, but it was a big episode. The second one, who, if you pick one, it should probably be Sean Brooke, and who is an established actor in Britain. I think they have a chance with her. The only other one I can kind of think of for our purposes, 1 episode, Maddie Evans as Diana, the handmaid that Aegon assaults in episode 8, which encompasses how they said we're not going to shy away from rape, but it's not a the other show made it a false choice between what, you don't want us to show rape, and it's no, you're being gratuitous because you were pandering for awards and shock value. That they said before the season began, we're going to do that because it happened. They mentioned that Aegon does that in the book. But we're dealing with the aftermath with the traumatized victim instead of gratuitously actually showing him doing it. And it was one scene, but damn it, did Maddie Evans do a really good job showing how traumatized that character was. I mean, it was really believable. I think Sean Brooke should have it more because it was one scene with one emotion, traumatized terror. Whereas Emma got to show, again, I think range matters more. That, well, here's her with her daughter being reassuring, then here's her with her husband talking about, well, we've had so many dead children, I'm unsure, we can't really keep doing this. So, of the people who are in 4 or less, I think these were the top ones. And just, why isn't Sean Brooke up for guest actress? Why isn't Will Johnson up for Vaemond? And I think the answer is they've probably done their calculus and realized major actors from Succession and The Crown are up for guest actor this year, and it's not worth it. We'll wait until those shows are over in season 2 to start trying to play the field with guest actors. So we'll see what happens. Now, follow me after the jump, where I'm going to talk about the things that Ryan Condal said at this House of the Dragon for Your Consideration panel about the story of season 2.